like you built the team. You said even up to 100 people.
Yeah.
And to get you there, you also mentioned like throwing a lot of money into coaching programs, right? Like $50,000.
Tons.
So did that continue as well? Did you continue to invest in coaches?
So to date, I've tracked about $3 million on coaching between like agents. So that kills anything like agencies done for you, masterminds. But yeah, I mean, I made the return. I mean, I made 70 million. You know, I'm not afraid to spend the money. I think that's been a benefit for me because a lot of people the reason a lot of people are scared is they need it to work every time. I don't. So I always make dating analogies because it's easy, but you know, if you get married, you probably didn't marry the first girl you dated. You probably date a few girls, and that means every girl besides one didn't work out. So with coaching, I tell people 80% won't work out, 20% will, but it's worth it to get to the 20% because that's what's going to scale your business. So the one I think that's the other reason I have a lot of conviction in what I sell is not because I think I'm the best or I can't learn. It's just I don't ask people to do anything I haven't done times 100x almost. I mean, most people are like, how much have you spent on coaching? They're like, oh, I've done like 100 grand. I'm like, yeah, I've done 3 million. So I get what you mean by being scared, but that's your only option. So I don't do quite as much now in terms of, in the early days, it was a lot of strategy. So like paid ads, you know, funnels and stuff. I'm at the point now where I've kind of seen every single strategy. And so there's not like a lot I'm paying for that, but I'd say it's more high level coaching. Like there's a guy I'm working with right now that's worked with extremely affluent individuals. He had some opportunities to work with some of the top players in the NBA and like some other people like that. And so more, I would say like strategic thinking or like even mindset stuff. And I've never been a huge mindset guy, but for example, I've had people point out to me certain things I'll say or certain things I'll do. And they say, dude, I mean, that's going to kind of stop you from like scaling a business. And, it's hard to go into depth on camera. I say you'd have to be there, but yeah, more coaching like that now. So I don't work with as many now, but they charge a lot more. So like 200,000 or 100,000, or 300,000.
Sounds like it's more so personal development now instead of like
because in terms of business, I mean, once the thing is I don't know if you guys have seen that document, but on my Facebook profile, I pinned a post that's the conversations with 30 billionaires that I interviewed, right? And the things that's the same across the board, almost always, if they bootstrap to $1 billion. So there's VC, but bootstrapped, which is super.
Oh, so you interviewed 30 billionaires.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook. You guys can get it. It's free doc. It's a free doc. And basically it was like a 2-step where I'm like, hey, share this and comment. It's got like 1 million comments and shares. Anyways, so what you do, or what I realize is there's a few examples I'll give you. Internet marketing background, almost always. Okay, so they almost always have done SEO, ads, etc. Okay. They build something that has easy to low fulfillment. So internet marketing by nature is not easy to low fulfillment. It's a lot of fulfillment, right? But they would do that. I'll give you guys some examples. And then usually it's a high ticket price because again, they bootstrapped it. Not always, but usually. And that was pretty much it. I mean, it was those 3 things. And so I'll give you a couple examples. I talked to a guy named Justin Hartfield. He sold weed maps for $1.6 billion in like 2 years. So it's a Yelp for weed. And so it's easy because there's no fulfillment. The app is the fulfillment, right? And then the owners would pay a lot to get their store ranked high because it got popular. And so he just there's no fulfillment. I mean, it's just keep the tech running and that's it. Customer support. There's another guy, Scott Cohen. He sold Byte for about it was 1 point something billion in 2 years. And it was an Invisalign competitor. But he's like, you know why I beat them? I was like, why? He's like, they suck at marketing. He's like, I've done SEO. So he got they had a $2,000 CAC. I don't know how he found that out. He got his down to 400. So he's getting 5 times the revenue. And they sold it. And think about it. You put on braces, you're done. You put on braces, you're done. And then they probably put them on some recurring dental plan. 2 years. I've talked to a girl I shouldn't say a girl, what's the right way to say it? A woman in Miami. I'm trying to be respectful here.
Girl boss.
Her name's Kim Perrell, and she sold 2 companies for 9 figures, and she has some type of internet marketing background. You look at Alex Hormozi, internet marketing background, Russell Brunson, internet marketing background. Like it's because what happens, what I've seen is the only CEOs that really scale big companies with VC capital, they have great products, but they don't know how to run a company. Yeah. So they have great vision and ideas, which is typical. But the difference with like a guy like me is I feel I could go into Grant Cardone, Russell Brunson, any of their companies, and I could probably run it. Like I genuinely feel I could be a COO top to bottom. I feel like I could genuinely do that. A lot of the founders I find great ideas, but they no idea. So I'm like, I'll hear their ideas. I'm like, dude, I could totally run your company. There's a portfolio company I have right now. I'll give you an example. Is he helps people get green cards, and he can almost guarantee it. on his application, it's the craziest application I've ever seen. It literally says how much it costs. Like, do you have $15,000 to invest? So they get on the sales call, and I'm like, he hired my company to get his sales team. And I'm like listening to the sales call. I'm like, this sales call is horrible. And they bought at the end. And then I go, dude, like how? I'm like, what does your application say? And he's like, oh yeah, it says this. I'm like, oh my God.
On the price right there. So why else would they book?
I was like, this is a slam dunk offer, but he just doesn't have all the skills yet.
Why even have a sales call at that point?
Exactly. So there's guys out there like that with offers where I'm going, I don't know how to get people guaranteed green cards, but I sure as hell know how to run that company, right? Yeah. So that's like that's been the biggest eye-opening thing for me. You saw it with Alex Becker too. So the next things I go into, what I'm looking for is what can I sell at a high price that is zero to low fulfillment, and that is the key. But that's why it takes so long to figure out, because if you think about it, that's not the easiest thing to come up with. Yeah. Internet marketing is great. It's just it's such high cost or fulfillment. And then Sally's a 1, George's a 5, Tom's a 10. And so the reason you can't scale it as high is you cannot get consistent results no matter how good your program is, because part of it, they have to do it. Yeah. And then that, oh, it's a scam, this and that. It's like, no, dude, like you just aren't that good. It's a people problem. It's a people problem. So Uber, like Uber's a bad example because they haven't made money in years, but it's the same result. You can be an idiot or you can be smart. You get the same service every time. That's the key that I've seen after all those interviews. Yeah. And then I made like a document. I've shared it with people, but that's really what I took away from it, honestly. Or the only other way to get super rich is you do a really high-end service. Like Gary Vee has an agency that does I think it's like 180 million a year or something. Yeah. But they work with Apple,
Fortune 500,
Google. I mean, it's like, so those guys got billions of dollars, and they're like, here, Gary, here's 10 million, just throw it at something. so
Super Bowl
so
ad.
It's super high-end clients who can have all the basics down, or you have to do something for the broad market, but everyone gets the same result. That's the only two ways I've seen to do it. Everything else, it just doesn't scale as well, because you can't tell me you get consistent results for all your clients. If not every client makes the same amount of money, that means it's not consistent.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this short clip, check out the full interview here. And if you want to see more clips from this episode, check it out right here.